Hello, everybody. At 11 o'clock, so I'm going to make a start. Welcome all. This is your one of your first induction sessions here at WQE, so huge welcome to everybody watching. My name is Alison Stone. I'm one of the Deputy Heads of Studies here at the college. I'm one of a team of 4. And we head up the guidance team, which is made up of tutors, PPMs we call them. I'll tell a little bit more about those in a while. But yes, I'm here today just to talk you through some of the basics, some of the answers to the questions you might have about WQE and studying here. And there'll be another opportunity to ask questions a little bit later as well. So congratulations on your results and welcome to a new exciting phase in your life. It's a big thing coming to sixth form, and I do expect you've got lots of questions, so I'm going to try to answer those as I go through the slides. Okay, so as I said, this is the first part of your induction. I know lots of you have only very recently enrolled. So there'll be another opportunity to get some more information next week, and you'll be sent the link to that. There is a Q&A box, and if I get time before the end, I will try to have a look at some of those. Okay. So you might be asking yourself, what is it like being a student at sixth form? Well, we are a big college. We've got about 3,700 students, which is, I guess, a lot bigger than your secondary school. So it'll feel very different to school. We're spread over a number of buildings. Some of you might be familiar with our University Road buildings and our Regent Road buildings. But actually what that means is it feels more like a multi-campus university. But we've also got a very strong sense of community. So you will be very much a member of the college and welcome to move around all of the buildings that we have. It's your college. So it will feel different to school. And I'll talk through some of those differences in a few minutes. So don't be worried if you're not quite sure how it's going to be. You will get used to it quickly. And there's lots of people here who can help you. Obviously, we're looking at emerging now from 18 months of various lockdowns and different learning experiences that you've had with the schools that you've been at. So now is the time really to embrace new opportunities, a fresh start, if you like. You can come to college and reinvent yourself. You can decide what sort of student you're going to be and come here and be that person. So embrace those new opportunities for learning, but also for social interaction, making new friends, and also playing your part in the college community, joining societies, perhaps sports teams, etc. It's a really exciting opportunity for you guys. So sixth form colleges, as I say, very different to school. We treat you like an adult. You're a young adult, and we expect you to be able to manage yourself much more so than perhaps you're used to at school. And that means that you have some responsibilities there as well, but also you'll find that you've got the freedom to move around, to study in your free blocks and make some choices that work for you. And that's also about putting the past behind you, isn't it? And moving forwards with some changes that you want to make to yourself as a student and as a young person. As I say, it's a fresh start. So in terms of your academic life, you're now entering quite a critical point, aren't you? This is where things become a little bit narrower for you guys, and particularly if you're coming here to do level 3. So you've gone from doing 9 or 10 or more GCSE subjects, narrowing down to maybe 3 A levels or even 1 subject at extended diploma. And then from here on, you'll be narrowing further, perhaps at university, to 1 subject there. So it's quite a critical time for you guys, and we'll help you with that. We'll help you with decisions that you need to make, and there's lots of advice here from your teachers and specialist career staff that we have here who can help guide you through to match your skills and your experiences and your interests with the things that you want to do after college. Opportunities, there are opportunities aplenty here at WQE. Obviously doing the courses that you want to do, that you've chosen for yourself. And I hope you've given them lots of thought and been, well, taken a lot of time to make sure you've made the right choices. Also, we've got lots of facilities here. So there are opportunities to take part in, as I say, new sports perhaps that you've never tried before, social areas in the college, the Starbucks, for example. But of course, there's a little bit of a flip side to that. And with those opportunities comes some challenges. You've got, I'll talk you through the timetable a little while, but you've got some study periods during the college week that give you that freedom. You get to decide how you spend your time. So it's a different way of working, using your time flexibly, but that can be a challenge for some people. Okay. So what can you expect of us? Well, I'm sure that you're aware that we've got an excellent reputation, and I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why you've chosen to come with us, come and study with us, and I'm glad that you have. And we promise you that we'll do our best to uphold the standards that you know of us before you've enrolled. You'll enter into a dialogue with us about how we can support you. So we'll respect you as an individual. We'll talk to you, as I say, as a young adult. And we want this to be a working partnership of equals. So it's about respect and responsibility. And we would want you to feel as if your education is not just about the qualifications that you're going to get here, but also about being an active student. So getting involved, wanting to be heard, having your say, participating. We have student body, student voice, so that you gain the skills and experiences that you need to move on to the next stage after college. So do get involved in as much as you can, make the most of it. One of the questions you might have when you think about starting here on the 6th of September is around financial assistance. And we do have a bursary fund. It might be that you're concerned that staying on in education is going to be difficult, a challenge for your family. So in lots of your courses, you'll find that some essential resources are provided free of charge, unless, of course, you're going to keep them afterwards. You might be on a course that requires you to go on a field trip or a visit, but we keep those charges to a minimum. If you're interested in applying for the bursary, there are some qualifying criteria there. So you must be between the age of 16 and 18, and there are some household income requirements as well. So it's means tested. We've got the eligibility criteria available for you in college, and there'll be some more information coming out to you about that. But certainly there is funding available if you need it. Okay. So what do we expect of you? We expect you to be committed to your studies. It's really important that you take your place at college seriously. It's a big commitment in terms of time. You won't ever be a part-time student here. All of you are enrolled as full-time students, so it's your main job. Okay, and you're going to have to make sure that you make it your priority to attend. So you're expected to attend all of your lessons, to engage in your learning, and to be on time. And when you think about the importance of attendance, it can make the difference between one grade and another. So we would be expecting a student with below 95% attendance to do worse in their exams. And that, of course, has a knock-on effect for your next step. You might miss your university offer, for example. So it's really important when you think about about attendance, that you make sure that you're managing your time and that you're leaving the house early, for example, so that you can get here for your first lesson of the day. And I did mention earlier on about the study periods that you have between lessons. So you might think of that as free time, but actually it's time for studying. And if you're doing, for example, 3 A levels, you need to put in an extra 5 hours a week per subject in your own study time, independent study time. So you would have about 15 hours or so of lessons, and you need to be doing an additional 15 hours of independent study. And that's compulsory. We can't monitor it, but you can't succeed without doing that. So the mathematicians amongst you will have worked out that we're looking at least 30 hours a week as a student, if not, well, more for some people on fuller timetables. Okay. It's really important that you learn to manage your workload so that you can meet deadlines. It's not like school where teachers will support you intensively to make sure that you get work done by certain dates. You'll be told when the dates are and expected to submit work on time. Okay. We're also expecting quite a bit of you in terms of the values that we have here at WQE. It is about embracing the opportunities that you have to be a part of a diverse learning community. We expect all members of the college to demonstrate respect and tolerance for each other, and that's staff and students. We're an inclusive college. We're proud of the fact that we attract students from a wide range of backgrounds, and we expect you to uphold good standards of behaviour. You know, our expectations are really positive. As I say, you're adults, and we would want you to behave as adults when you're a student at WQE. We're obviously in a community here, a shared campus with the university, and also our neighbours here in Clarendon Park. So whether you're on site or travelling to and from college, we expect you to uphold high standards of behaviour. We do have a team of student supervisors who you'll get to know around the corridors. So they're here to support you, to help guide you with the things that you need to be doing and our expectations of you in terms of security, wearing lanyards, ID cards. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Okay. Just a little bit of a heads up about some of the software, the apps that you're going to need to have installed either on your phone, your tablets or laptops. So we're planning to return to on-site learning only. In other words, you will have all of your lessons in college in a classroom. Last year we had a little bit of a mix with some online learning, as I'm sure you did at school. So it's on-site only in class, but we will be using Microsoft Teams to support that. So lots of your teachers will be wanting to communicate with you directly. A little bit different to school, as I say. We use Outlook, email. You're going to have to get used to managing your emails really effectively. You'll be expected to communicate and respond to teachers by email and in Teams. There'll be a little bit more information about those next week, but if you want to start downloading those between now and then, do go ahead. So what would a typical week look like then? So if you're coming here as a level 3 student, you will have typically 4 lessons a week for each subject at A level, and each lesson is an hour and 10 minutes long. So you can see here roughly what that might look like if you were doing biology, psychology and English. So 4 lessons in each subject. So that's 12 lessons plus your PPM session, that's here on in red. And that's a 30-minute session with your PPM. So your PPM is a little bit like your form tutor at school, but instead of seeing them every morning or every afternoon, you see them once a week for 30 minutes. And that's a critical part of being a student here. It's compulsory. And your PPM will guide you through those early early weeks and months at college. And then as you go through your first year, they'll be writing your UCAS reference and supporting you with your progress with one-to-one appointments as well. You can also see there in pink for this student on a Friday that they have their enrichment. So the vast majority of you will have had to choose an enrichment for your first year. And usually that's something that's interesting to you, or something that keeps you active, or something that supports your studies. And then you can look at changing that if you want to for your second year. So vast majority of level 3 students will have an enrichment. If you're coming here to do a level 2 year, you'll find you've got a very busy timetable. And again, you've got your PPM session, 30 minutes, that's compulsory for all students, but no enrichment for you at level 2. Okay. So there are some really key important facts that you need to bear in mind throughout your time at college. Like I've said before, we do treat you like an adult, but there are some safety expectations that we have of everybody, so of staff and students. And one of those is really important, is that you're given a lanyard and an ID card, and that you must wear that at all times. And I expect you're used to that from school anyway, so we wouldn't expect it to be something that you've not had to do before. And that's for safeguarding. We need to be able to see at a glance that you are a student here and that you're on the premises legitimately. If you don't have your card, and we know that sometimes people forget their card, you go to reception and they can sort you out with a temporary one. There is a cost. We can't keep issuing temporary cards without charging you for them. So it's always best to remember your own card if possible, please. You can see here that there's mention of something called a Z card. So in a normal year, we would be issuing you with it's a credit card size fact card, if you like. It's got lots of key information about what you do around college, the expectations that we have of you in terms of safety. This year, I understand it's going to be emailed to you. So watch out for the Z card coming to you, and your PPM induction next week will cover quite a bit of that information in more detail. So don't worry if there's something I've not covered. Please don't encourage visitors. We don't allow visitors on site unless they've been booked in as a formal appointment. So if you bring somebody into college that's not allowed in and isn't a student with us, then we would consider that to be quite a serious breach of security, and we'd be speaking to you and a parent about that. It's a serious issue. So no visitors, no smoking, and that also includes vaping. So that's either in the buildings or on the site, and no alcohol or drugs. I think that goes without saying. Okay. So I'm coming to the end here. I suppose what I wanted to do really was encourage you to make the most of the opportunities that you've got here at WQE. It's a fantastic place to study. It's a fantastic place to become the adult that you want to be. And you're in control of that. You get to decide, which opportunities you're going to take us up on, and give it your best. Come here and make sure you're going to get off to a good start. It's going to be so different that your first term sometimes you can find the time running away with you. And I guess I want to issue with you with a little bit of a warning about that, a bit of a heads up. Don't get into bad habits, because what you'll find is that if you neglect your studies in the first term, it's really hard, if not impossible, to catch up again. And you could find that by Christmas it's almost too late to fix what you've missed. So don't waste time. Come here on the 6th and get cracking straight away. Put everything into it. We are here to support you, so you must ask if there's anything you're unsure of. If you need support at any point in your time with us, please ask. Your PPM, you'll all be assigned your own PPM. Your PPM is here to help you. That is their role. And you can contact them at any point in your WQE journey and ask for advice and support. If you have any further questions about your situation with regard to the bursary or other aspects of your studies, you can speak to your PPM when you start, when you've got their name and they're on your timetable. Okay, so that's it from me. I can see that there are a few questions, and I think we've got a little bit of time left. So I'm going to have a look and see if there's anything that I can answer now. So is there a dress code? Essentially, no, we don't have any rules about what you can and can't wear. So it's not at all like school. There's no uniform. You are free to express yourself in terms of your own style. What we would say is that you use a little bit of common sense. So clearly we wouldn't want you to be wearing something with an offensive slogan. Yeah, within sensible limitations, no dress code at all. Are we going to have an on-site visit around the college before we start? That's a really good question, actually. And the answer is no. Next week's second induction will also be online, but I did want to make sure that you do try to get here early on the first day of term. So when you get your timetable, you'll see that there are room numbers for your first lesson and obviously for every lesson each week. You won't all start at 9 o'clock on the 6th of September. Some of you will, but as you saw on the timetable examples that I showed you, nobody has the same timetable. So some students might have a first lesson after 11 o'clock on the Monday. Some of you might not even have a lesson on Monday. Your first lesson might be the 7th of September. So what I would recommend that you do is get here early. So find out which building you're going to be in, and that's on your timetable that there will be a letter before the room number, and your Z card will have a map of the buildings. So you'll be able to see which campus you need to go to, and you should be able to identify which building and get here early. Okay, so try to aim for 8:30 if you've got a 9 o'clock lesson. If your lesson is at 11 o'clock, get here at 10:30. And that just gives you a little bit of leeway in case you can't quite find the building or the room. All right, so golden tip from me, top tip, get here early on your first day. And from that point on, you've got time to explore and find your way around the rest of the buildings and find the other rooms you need to get to. Okay. What equipment would you suggest buying? So that's a really good question. So being at college is very different to school. Obviously schools are different too, but as a general rule, you will need binders. So that's, folders with the sort of D-rings inside, and lots of pads of paper that you can rip out and put in the folders. So if you're doing 3 subjects at A level, I would suggest a binder for each subject, some notepads that you might want to bring in with you, and lots of pens. Okay, and we can go through that with you next week and in your first PPM session in college as well. And your teachers will advise you. So somebody's asked here, how do we join the sports teams? When you were looking at your enrichment options, some of the options there are for sports teams, and they have trials. And I believe there are some more trials this Friday. So have a look on the college's social media for more about the sports team trials. What time does school start? Well, we call it college. You'll get used to calling it college instead of school. And we start on the 6th of September. So that's all of you, 6th of September. Orientation is next week. And I understand that you'll be getting an email with more information about that. It won't be on site, it will be online. Can you only do one enrichment? Yes, you do one enrichment throughout your first year. And then in your second year, you get to choose again. The reason we ask you for 3 choices at enrolment is because we have to fit them in around your subjects, and sometimes it would clash with one of your subjects, so we look at your second preference. Good questions, guys. When are we getting our timetables? My understanding is that your timetable will be emailed to you on the 3rd of September, if not before. Okay, so make sure that you check your emails. Is there a list of recommended stationery? I think I've covered that. I would, as I say, suggest that you get binders. You don't want to be bringing everything into college. After one term, you'd have too much to bring in. So you might want to keep your binders at home and bring notepads to college, for example. You know, the A4 sheets that you can get everywhere, supermarkets, they've already been hole punched and you can tear out the sheets. What time does college usually start? As I say, it varies. You will not have the same timetable as your friends because you're doing different subjects, or you might be in different groups. So the first lesson of the day is at 9 o'clock, but you might not be due in until even the afternoon, but you are welcome. In fact, we encourage you to come in as early as you can so that you can use the computers in the library and the study centres. Where do we get a map of the campus and rooms? You will be emailed a map. It's the thing I was talking about, the Z card, that has all of the information about the rooms and the buildings. Are we allowed to use laptops instead of books and notepads? Yes, you can use a laptop. When you're coming on the 6th of September, do you have to bring the letter that was sent at home, the white letter? Not as far as I know. If it tells you to bring it, then bring it. I'm not sure what letter you mean, but if you're enrolled here and you're in this induction now, that tells me you're a student. So you come in and you go to the room that you can see for your first lesson on your timetable. Do we have to bring our own workbooks? So if you're thinking about textbooks, for the vast majority of subjects, your textbooks are provided by the college. That's the big books that contain all the subject content. Some of them might be e-books, but lots of them are physical books that you will be given to borrow. Is there free Wi-Fi? Yes. Can we bring an iPad? Yes. Let's have a look. I think, are there ways of dropping subjects throughout the year just in case? This is going to be my final question, because I think we're running out of time. The answer is usually no. If you have any queries about the subjects that you've signed up for, the best time to ask to make changes is now. Okay, don't wait until you've started. If you have doubts, talk to us before you start. All right. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate those questions. It's great to see that you're thinking about your college experience already. We look forward to seeing you. Don't forget that you've got a second induction session next week with the PPM team, and they'll be answering most of the remaining questions that you have. Thank you for joining me, and it was really nice to speak to you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.